All right, welcome back with a quick little preview here for week 5 of Tour 1 of the DPC. We are almost done the regional portion of this first tour, and we're heading into the first major, hopefully, if that ends up happening. And yeah, this is going to be covering the week of January 11th to 16th. Of course, not including the 10th because there are no upper division matches on the 10th on Mondays, except for in China now because China has their own unique schedule. And you'll notice that for China, I'm actually including next Monday's matches instead of this one's because obviously this Monday's matches have already happened. So not going to include them here, and I'm just going to be including the future Monday for China. There's only one more preview coming up after this, so not a big deal, but I thought I would let you guys know. So starting off with fantasy picks, if that's all you're here for. For China, I went ahead and went with the LBZS roster, and notably LBZS has looked okay. They've got a series win, which was pretty nice for them. I'm not exactly anticipating them to have the best week, but they are playing 4 series within the next 7 days, which means that they're going to be having the most potential for a lot of points. And I also went ahead and threw in Shiro, however you pronounce it, in there from eHome as well, the carry player there, just because in general, carry players earn more points than offlaners. So I'm going with the LBZS roster minus their offlaner plus Shiro from eHome. For Southeast Asia, I went ahead with the SMG roster minus Raging Potato, and I threw in 23 Savage there. Both of those teams playing 2 series this week, but the only reason I didn't stick with T1 is because they are playing against Boom this week. And normally I would say that T1 should still win this, but they have bled a little bit, and Boom so far has looked like one of the most dominant teams in the DPC. So I have a little bit more faith, especially because SMG is also playing against the 2 bottom teams of the division. Now, OB Neon has started to turn things around a little bit, but SMG is still a really strong team. So all in all, again, for SEA, I went with the entire SMG roster minus Raging Potato, and I threw in 23 Savage there. For Eastern Europe, aka CIS, I went ahead with Watson. I went ahead pretty much with the entire Hellraisers roster as they're playing twice. The only 2 teams playing twice this week in Eastern Europe are Na'Vi and Hellraisers. So I went with Hellraisers minus their offlaner, and I added in V-Tune from Na'Vi. Hellraisers also have a pretty tough week up ahead. They're playing against both Spirit and PuckChamp, the 2 teams that lie ahead of them so far. But they've yet to drop a series. They're looking pretty solid. Whereas Na'Vi, they still have a pretty tough matchup as well. And overall, even though they've had some good showings, I think I have a little bit more faith in Hellraisers here. So if you favor Na'Vi this week, feel free to take Na'Vi's roster minus their offlaner and maybe throwing in Watson. Watson's been having a pretty solid season so far as well. And I'd really encourage you to take Rebel. Rebel has been one of the highest point earning mids throughout the DPC in Eastern Europe so far from Hellraisers. For Western Europe, we only have 2 teams, again, playing 2 series this week, those being Nigma and Cool Guys, and so because of that, I went ahead and put Nigma on. They do actually play up against each other, so if you do have more faith in Cool Guys pulling ahead with a win, feel free to put their roster ahead of Nigma's, maybe including Miracle instead of the Cool Guys offlaner. But for now, I just went with the boys from Nigma. For North America, we have Black and Yellow and Simply 2 Base, the 2 bottom teams, or 2 of the bottom teams in the division playing twice this week. They face off against one another again, so it's really based on preference, whether you think Black and Yellow is going to win or Simply 2 Base is going to win. I would take that roster, the one you think is going to win, minus the offlaner, obviously, and then adding in either Rises or Boris, depending on which team you pick. So, and finally, ending things up with South America. My picks were basically just No Ping. The only 2 teams playing twice this week are No Ping and SG Esports. And if history tells us anything, it's that SG Esports likely will not end up picking up a win this week. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but going into this, you do have to make some assumptions, and I went with No Ping. So yeah, that does it for my predictions and my fantasy. Before I get into it, just remember, if you're enjoying the video so far, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Trying to hit to 1K subscribers. Join the Discord if you're at all curious about talking about the DPC with people just like yourself. And yeah, let's get into the preview here as we are winding down the regional aspect of this first tour. Starting off with China, again, their schedule being a little bit more packed because they're playing on a condensed schedule. Starting off on Tuesday the 11th, so just a few hours from now, at 12 p.m., we have Phoenix up against RNG. RNG coming off a nice win against eHome earlier on. They looked pretty good in that one. Notably, their hard carry God King has been, I think, their weak point for RNG for sure, but he did have some shining moments today. He did have that nice triple rampage to end the series, so we'll see how that ends up going for RNG. As for Phoenix, they are at the bottom right now, not having a great time, so maybe this will be a nice little series for RNG to build up that momentum. Following that, 3 p.m., we have my first match of the week for China. Of course, I have more than one because there are twice as many games. We have eHome versus Aster, and eHome has been doing pretty well so far for themselves as well. Not exactly what I expected, but they are coming in as a stack that did very, very well in the lower division last season, and so they're kind of riding that momentum, but they're going up against Aster, who has also looked pretty solid so far this season. Maybe not having as clean a season as they wanted to so far, but the only series loss that they have is to PSG.LGD. So I think they can be pretty happy with that. Following that, we have LGD up against LBZS. Then on Friday the 14th, we have at 12 p.m. Phoenix taking on LBZS. Again, they are playing the rest of their season. They're actually the only team that is going to be completely finished their season at the end of this week, and that is LBZS that I'm talking about. Following that, 3 p.m., we have IG versus Vici Gaming. This should be a fun one. Both teams getting off to a little bit of a slow start. For Vici Gaming, it was maybe expected, but IG has certainly looked a little bit out of whack now that they're missing Kaka out of their roster. They should turn things around and make it to the first major. Again, China has 4 slots for the DPC major. But again, we'll have to see how it goes. This win is going to be very, very crucial for Invictus, and if they end up losing this one, then they won't be able to afford to lose any more series throughout the rest of the DPC. Following that, on Sunday the 16th at 12 p.m., we have Invictus Gaming taking on LBZS. Again, Invictus really needs to start piling those wins on. We then have at 3 p.m. eHome versus Vici Gaming. And then after that, we have my second match of the week, and that is going to be LGD versus RNG. Again, both teams kind of looking pretty good. RNG has had their falters. PSG.LGD has lost a game here and there. I think they only lost to Aster, actually. But yeah, this should be a really entertaining series, and it should really help kind of classify just how strong RNG really is right now, as they're going to be going up against the Goliath of the region. Following that, on Monday the 17th, we end things off with eHome taking on LBZS at 12 p.m. and then Aster taking on Phoenix at 3 p.m. So yeah. That's your China preview for the next week. What matches are you most looking forward to? I gotta say, both of my matches of the week obviously are the ones that I'm most looking forward to. These are probably going to be the most competitive matches. But then again, I've been pretty surprised with LBCS so far. They've pulled ahead with a win already, without even having played against Phoenix yet. And so we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. Who ends up falling? Vici Gaming, LBS, and Invictus are all in the bottom half right now. And if they don't start picking up wins, they could end up being in the bottom 2, which would be pretty insane to think about. All right, moving on to Southeast Asia now. Things start off on Wednesday the 12th, so a few days away from now. Things kick off at 3 p.m. with TNC Predator up against OB Neon, both teams at the bottom of the division facing off. However, OB Neon did pick up a win last week. They are looking like they're starting to turn things around. I know in some outside tournaments that they've been doing quite well. People have been trying to tell me that OB Neon's really underperforming, and I believe you to an extent. But when it comes to stuff like power rankings, which is usually when people tell me about it, it's really a DPC related power rankings, so I can't exactly bump OB Neon up for playing well outside of the DPC. But I know that they're a good team, and this series should be a fun one to watch, as they are not quite eliminated out of the DPC yet. They are at the bottom, but picking up that win last week and picking up another win this week would certainly help their case. Following that, 6 p.m., we have T1 versus Execration, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the series that got postponed a few weeks ago, so both of these teams going to finally face off against one another. Thursday the 13th, we have TNC Predator up against SMG, as SMG goes around and plays against the 2 bottom teams, as they do in the next day, Friday the 14th, at 3 p.m., they play against OB Neon. And then Saturday the 15th, we end things off at 3 p.m. with Fnatic versus Execration, and then finally, my match of the week, Boom versus T1, the matchup I've been waiting for since pretty much the end of week 2, when we started to see just how strong Boom really was. I mean, I think we all knew that Boom was going to be one of the better teams in this division, but I don't think we were expecting them to be this strong. And they're off to a better start than T1 so far, so we'll see if T1's able to bring them down. I'm really looking forward to this matchup. Again, that's taking place on the 15th at 6 p.m. local time. So yeah, let me know what matches you guys are most looking forward to in this week in Southeast Asia. Again, I talked about it in my review that I made a few days ago. Southeast Asia has 2 very, very entertaining divisions to watch. Both their upper division and lower division are right down to the wire right now for which teams are making it to the major, which teams are getting eliminated, which teams are getting bumped up to the upper division next season. And yeah, I highly recommend checking it out if you do have the time. Following that, Eastern Europe, on Thursday the 13th, we have Hellraisers up against PuckChamp. This would have been my match of the week had we not had another fantastic one lined up later on in the week. Hellraisers and PuckChamp so far are looking like 2 of the strongest teams in the division. And if Hellraisers manages to get themselves ahead, then that makes it all that much harder for Virtus.pro to end up catching it. Of course, Eastern Europe only has 3 slots available, and right now those are held by Spirit, PuckChamp, and Hellraisers. And Virtus.pro lagging behind a little bit. They're not mathematically eliminated yet, but it's getting harder and harder as the days go on. Following that, 8 p.m., we have Na'Vi versus Gambit. Na'Vi having a pretty rough week, even though they played probably some of their best Dota in the DPC. They just didn't exactly get the results they were hoping for. Again, playing against some of the strongest teams in the division, putting up a good fight, but just not playing well enough to secure the series exactly. Following that, Friday the 14th, we have Empire versus Mind Games. Again, a case of two teams at the bottom of the division, both of them winless so far, facing off against one another. Mind Games, previously known as Unique, in case you missed that change. Following that, Sunday the 16th, starting things off at 5 p.m., we have my match of the week, and then it's going to be Hellraisers versus Spirit. And as of right now, Spirit is undefeated, and so is Hellraisers. We'll see if Hellraisers are still undefeated after their series on Thursday by the time they head into this next match. But this is one that I'm really, really looking forward to, as both of them have looked like a force to be reckoned with so far. Again, no one has been able to beat these two teams yet. We'll have to see if PuckChamp is able to bring them down on Thursday. And then right after that, we have Na'Vi versus Virtus Pro. And again, Na'Vi having a pretty rough week. Their chances of making it to the major are pretty much non-existent to this point, but they're still looking like one of the stronger teams, still trying to place a little bit higher than where they are right now. Whereas Virtus Pro, they're desperately fighting for that top 3 spot. They cannot afford to lose another series if they want to make it to the major. So, yeah, that does it for Eastern Europe. Again, what matches are you most looking forward to? Do you think Virtus Pro makes it to the major? I've been asking this question since pretty much the end of week 1 when they lost their first series, and we'll have to see if they do. It'll be really, really close if they do. If they do, it'll be because some team ends up dropping out of the top, like maybe PuckChamp loses that first series there, and they bleed a little bit. But we'll see. Even if that happens, it's still pretty, the odds are pretty slim. Now moving on to Western Europe, kicking things off, we have a couple teams ending their season here. I should actually also note that in the other regions, the two teams that are playing their last few series this week are TNC and SMG. They're going to be wrapping up the regional portion of the season after this week. And for Eastern Europe, those are going to be PuckChamp and Na'Vi ending off their regional portion of the tournament after this week. Of course, PuckChamp very likely to attend the major, but Na'Vi, if you're a fan of Na'Vi, you might want to check out those last 2 matches before their season ends, as it'll be a little while before you see them again. For Western Europe, we have Liquid Enigma starting things off on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Again, Liquid to this point undefeated. They have had a few series where they've lost a few games. I think most of their series have actually gone to 3 games. And Enigma desperately needing to pull together some wins. Right now, it's looking like the likelihood that they get relegated is pretty slim. But there is still a chance that they make it to the major. The benefit of playing in a region like Western Europe is that there are more slots available to you. So they can't afford to lose any more series if they want to make it, but starting off against Team Liquid is definitely going to be one of their toughest challenges that they've had yet, and we'll have to see how that goes. Following that, we have Secret up against Cool Guys. Again, Secret kind of in the same boat. They have the same record as Team Enigma so far. They've been having a rough couple weeks, but they still have a chance to make it to the major. They do also have a chance of getting relegated, but those are slim as well. So getting this win up against Cool Guys, a team that has had a pretty rough season so far, this is a good chance for Secret to get themselves ahead of Team Enigma. Following that, on Wednesday the 12th, we have Alliance up against OG. Of course, Alliance recently relocated over to Serbia for the remainder of the season, trying to come together a little bit more as a team. We'll see if it has worked so far. It hasn't been all that long, so we'll see how it is. But OG looking for a bounce back after losing that last series to Team Tickles. A very hard-fought series, and if they win this one, they're very likely going to be secured for that major spot. And then Saturday the 15th, we end things off, starting things with my match of the week, which is going to be Tundra versus Tickles. Tickles has looked pretty fantastic so far. I believe their only series that they've lost so far has been to Team Liquid, who is undefeated to this point. And Tundra, after having a rough couple weeks in the middle of the season there, started to bounce things back. They win their series over Cool Guys. They're looking to build that momentum to make sure that they get themselves into the major. Again, Team Secret and Enigma are right behind them. They're looking to chase them, and Tundra just trying to get ahead a little bit more so they won't be caught. And that's going to be a really, really crucial series for them there. And then finally, ending the week off, we have Enigma up against Cool Guys, which will be the final match for both of these two teams. So again, if you're a fan of Enigma or Cool Guys, be sure to check out this match, as it'll be likely the last time that we see them throughout this tour. Again, there's still a chance that Enigma makes it to the major, but again, quite unlikely by the way it's looking. They wouldn't be able to lose any more series. So, yeah, let me know what matches you're most looking forward to. Who makes it to the major? Western Europe is looking pretty wide open right now. The only 2 teams I think are pretty locked in for the major right now are Tickles and Liquid, and the rest of it, we don't even know. I mean, Enigma or Secret could even get relegated if they lose the remainder of their matches. I've seen crazier. All right, moving on to North America now. Tuesday the 11th, we kick things off at 3 p.m. with Quincy Crew versus Black and Yellow. Should be a fun series. Quincy Crew cementing themselves as the top team so far in the region as they took down Undying last week in a very impressive 2-1 win. Looking to extend things a little bit. And for Black and Yellow, this is a tough opponent, but they need the wins. They're at the bottom of their division right now, trying to avoid relegation. They're sharing last place in the division right now with Arkosh and 2-Based, and if they can manage to get this win, then that would certainly help their case with getting ahead. Wednesday the 12th, we kick things off at 3 p.m. with my match of the week, and that's going to be Evil Geniuses versus Undying. This is a crucial series. If Evil Geniuses manage to win this series, then there is a chance that they catch up to Undying if they win their next one after that. So this is going to be a really crucial series. If Undying wants to secure their spot in the major, they need to get this win. So again, this is my match of the week. Should be a real intense one. If EG wins, they have a good shot. If they lose, they are out of the tournament. There's no chance that they're catching Undying. Following that, we have 2-Base versus Wildcard. Again, Wildcard tied with Evil Geniuses right now. Their hopes for making it to the major are still alive. They're looking to squeak in there, but again, with Undying, if they manage to get this win, that will likely eliminate Wildcard from the contention. And then on Saturday the 15th, we end things off at 3 p.m. with 4 Zoomers versus Arkosh. That should be a pretty fun one. And then Black and Yellow taking on 2-Base. So again, two teams near the bottom fighting off to avoid relegation. Likely whoever wins this series ends up dodging it. Whereas Arkosh right now, they need to win a series against 4 Zoomers, which is a lot more difficult than the last series there. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Who makes it to the major from North America? Quincy Crew is pretty much already locked in, but 4 Zoomers, Undying, Evil Geniuses, who makes it, and who gets relegated? We still don't know yet either. I'm pretty sure Arkosh will likely be one of them, but we'll see. And finally, last but not least, apologies to anyone who is a fan of South America for always having to wait till the end of the video for this, but things kick off on Thursday the 6th at 6 p.m. with No Ping versus SG Esports. Both teams having a pretty rough season so far. And this is going to be the last week that both of these teams play. So hopefully for for both of those teams, they're hoping to end things off on a nice win. It's not their last series of the week, but it is nearing the end of the season. SG Esports really looking to win a series before the end of the DPC. Friday the 7th, we have my match of the week, which is Infamous versus Lava. For South America, not a lot of really intense matches, no like best teams playing up against one another. So I just kind of had to go out and say that Infamous versus Lava should be a pretty fun one. Both teams kind of sitting near the middle of the division. Infamous looking to try and catch Beast Coast. They really surprised everyone by beating Beast Coast last week. Their hopes of making it to the major are still alive. They're pretty slim, but they're very alive. So getting this win is going to be super important for Infamous. And for Lava, if they get this win, they avoid relegation, which is going to be huge for them. So pretty big series for both of them, and that's why that's my match of the week. Then at 6 p.m., we have Hokori versus APU King of Kings. Both teams doing pretty well as well. King of Kings looking to stay in contention for the major also. They are right behind Beast Coast, tied with Infamous. This is going to be a pretty big series for them. And on Sunday the 9th, we end things off. No Ping plays their last series of the regional tournament up against Thunder Predator, a pretty rough opponent to be ending things off. And same thing for SG Esports. They end off their season playing against Beast Coast. Rest in peace in advance to these two teams. Although, you know, I've seen weirder things. They ended up upsetting them. I mean, Beast Coast lost to Infamous last week, and sure, Infamous is a much better team than SG Esports, or at least that's the way they've been performing. But there's always a chance for a fluke. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below as always. Again, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and share, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later today with my review of South America. That'll likely come a little bit later in the day because I'm waiting until those South American matches in the lower division are done today, and then I'll be uploading it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later tonight. Bye.